I need help. We want our young man to grow up so fast. Let's build. 35, 60 years on this life and don't know, or someone hasn't told them.
Kings build kings. It is a movement. It is.
I heard that second time.
It is something that I truly believe every man needs. Right.
I didn't have anybody to say, oh, let's have this conversation.
Get this young lady a real bed to sleep on.
Anything that you're doing in life, just keep going. I also wrote down my vision. Let's go.
I learned that I ain't perfect, but God gave me a purpose. I'm worth it cause I know he chose me. I'm alright now.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to Purpose Over Everything, where we plant, pour, and push you into purpose. My name is Q, and this is season 2. And I told you guys before that we were going to have more exciting guests, people that's doing all kind of amazing work and different things in our communities. And I really, really want to make sure that the people that I bring on here are people who are living in purpose, striving to live in purpose, or really, really want to live in purpose, and they're just trying to figure things out. So usually on this podcast, right, I don't introduce my guests. And the reason why I don't introduce my guests is because I really feel like sometimes people don't really know how to introduce themselves. People are always, some people is just like, I don't know what to say about myself. And I want us to get into the habit of starting to talk about who we are and what we do and what we represent. So I'm not going to ask and introduce my brother. I want you to introduce yourself to the people. Let us know who you are.
No problem. Yo, what's going on, world out there? My name is Anthony Thompson. I'm the founder and CEO of Kingsville King. Yo, what we're doing is creating new spaces for black and brown boys. I'm in the community. Let's go. We're going to have an amazing podcast. This is an opportunity where we can get to grow together. But while we're doing that, let's build. Let's go.
First off, you can't be doing that because you sounded better than me.
No, I've been trying to get, I saw your trajectory and your views, bro. Your views are 20K, 30K, 40K. I'm just trying to get to 100K for this view. So, Sean, your mom, your dad, I'm just trying to get the best view. I'm just competitive like that, baby.
Listen, I like it. I enjoy it.
Talk to me.
Let's get it to 100K.
Yo, how you feel, bro?
Don't interview me, bro. Listen.
Yo, how you feel? No, real talk. How you feeling, bro? Oh, you know what? One of my brothers used to do, how's your mental health from 1 to 10?
All right, so Anthony is going to interview me, but
I'm definitely not going to interview him.
We're not going to let that happen.
I'm just going to ask him some questions because I want to know. But go ahead.
I'm gonna answer this for you guys, but I promise you, this is gonna be about him today. It's not gonna be about me.
Talk to me.
My mental health right now, from a 1 to 10, I would say is a 10.5.
Ooh.
And the reason why is because I just celebrated my birthday.
Okay.
And for the first time in my life, I realized that I really don't need anything. Like, I have everything that I want and the things that I need. So I had a little checklist when I was younger of all the things that I would want in life. And through the grace of God, He has given me all of these things. So my mental health, I break that down into family, into work, into myself, right? All these different things. And when I really think about what's going on in my life, I truly can say that I have peace. So that's my answer to that. Listen, don't ask me any more questions. You're thinking right now, you're saying, all right, I want to unpack that. I have some more that I want to, give you. No. We're not doing this.
I won't do that. I'm going to respect the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm going to allow you to talk. But if I have any questions, for this podcast, how many questions am I allowed to ask? You got to give me a limit.
2.3.
Let me get to 4 and then maybe to 5.
Oh, that's too much for me.
All right, I'm going to get to 3. 3.5.
3.5. Right. Listen, I might let you ask about 3.5 questions. Now, listen, you said something in your introduction.
Yeah.
And you said that you are the founder, you said CEO of King Build King. Is it
Correct.
Kings Build Kings or is it King Build King?
Kings Bill Kings.
So my first question is, what does that mean?
That's an amazing question. I think when I started to realize life and I created an understanding of what does that mean, I look at myself and I look at other people around me and I realized that I couldn't find a lot of kings. Yes, respectfully, I had my dad. Respectfully, I had individual, but it wasn't a lot of people that was making Anthony Thompson. But then I realized when I was doing my research, a lot of times black and brown boys do not have mentors. People that they can be exposed to,
Okay.
people that they can be in their environment, or just say, I need help. So I created Kingsville King to be able to have a space where you put up your hand and say, I don't really know what's going on. Can you help me? Or can I have a space to learn how to be a young man? Or I can have the language when I want to fight, I want to have a big fight, but then I just want to say, you know what? I feel a certain way because I lost my dad. But I don't know the language of how to speak. So we create spaces around New York City, New Jersey, and allow boys to be boys. I think in society, we want our young men to grow up so fast, but allow them to be young men.
Okay. So I think that was literally powerful. And I know that you like looking at the people, but you're leaving me out of this conversation. So I really would like if you look at me.
All right, I'm gonna look at you.
You know, because that was so powerful, and I was trying to get your attention because I
problem.
wanted to really look you in
No
the eye
problem.
and say that was a beautiful
Thank you.
response, because I believe that a lot of us men, we need mentors in
Yeah.
all different, places in our life. And they say that it takes a village to build a child and all these different things, right? But as far as men mentors, why is a man so important? Because there's a lot of powerful single women who have, raised some really powerful men. So what is the importance of a man mentoring a man?
I'm gonna look at you while I have it.
All right, and make your
That's what
voice
you wanted
sexy
me-
like that.
That's what you wanted me to do.
Yes.
When I'm a young man and I can come to you as a man, that you have done a lot in your experience, you have failed, you had success, you cried, you did all of those things. And I can come to you and say, how did you do that? What do I need to do? When do I get there? Where does it happen? Why can I have that? Or how? And you have an answer for that? And I don't have to navigate, look on Google, look on all these things, but I have the source right next to me. I think that's the most powerful thing a young man can have. And I hope anybody that's listening to on this live at this moment is saying, I need community. Even Jesus himself had a whole community of mentors.
So if mentorship is important, then why don't a lot of boys have men as mentors?
Because we don't know how important that is. Bro, we don't know how important. And I think sometime, and I did a study. So I do a King Bill King Summit every last Saturday of each month. We go into Manhattan. We went to Brooklyn. We're doing everything every month. One of the things I realized when I went on Eventbrite, I did my search. I typed in girls empowerment. When I typed in girls empowerment, I see so many things about girls empowerment. It was something in Queens, something in Brooklyn, flowers, all these things. When I typed in boys empowerment, there was nothing.
Nothing at all.
Nothing at all. And your audience, I want them to go look at it. And if they feel like I'm lying, I cash up them $5.45.
Well, I think you're lying right now. My cash app, $ gifted apparel. No, wow, no.
Catch me on a 2 weeks though.
Oh, all right. That is super. Wow, I didn't know that. I'm actually really gonna go and
No,
and do
but
that.
all jokes aside, because I take this very serious. When I'm doing the research, I'm realizing that I'm going around and I have this like a Canva and I ask young men what do they need, and the two things that comes up: a support system, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 25 support system, and someone that look like them. And I'm going around to places,
Okay.
and all of them are saying the same thing. So that means if I'm a social engineer, that means there's a problem because that individual's living 13, 24, 35, 60 years on this life and don't know, or someone hasn't told them, I appreciate you.
I believe that's super
Now,
true.
I have a question.
All right, this is
My
question
first
number.
question.
Not would it be the second? Because you
No,
kind
because
of.
then you gave me the rules. It's like Uno. You
Oh,
gotta
okay.
establish the rules before, like you. You gotta bro. You gotta establish this rule. Like, so this is my first question. When did you know you needed a male role model in your life?
For me, it had to be when I started realizing that my mom was doing the best that she could,
She did a
but
powerful
it was
job.
just very hard for her to raise a man just because she wasn't a man. So there were certain things that, as I began to grow and get old, I'm like looking for, and it's like she can't really help me. She's doing the best that she can, but she really can't help me in these areas because at the end of the day, she's not a man, right? So I believe that I would say as young as maybe 8 years old, 9 years old, you start to question certain things. You know, you start going through changes in your life as a boy,
Yeah,
and you start searching for people that look like you to help you in certain areas.
yeah,
And when there's a void there, then I believe you start to try to fill that void
correct.
in other ways. Now, that's how it was for me. But I want to ask you, because you said something in the beginning as well. You said you had your father in your life.
Yes,
So you had your dad in your life, but did you still feel like you needed mentorship?
yes.
And
My
why?
I was a part of a conversation this weekend, and the young lady said, "You will only know how far you go unless what you know." My dad only respectfully, I love you. He knew what he knew from the viewpoint of his life,
Okay.
but I need to go further. And I believe I needed Avengers around me, or I needed people that knew about financial literacy, or knew about self development, or knew about entrepreneurship, or knew about things that they may not teach at school. And that's a whole different conversation.
Okay.
But at the same time, I needed, and he gave me some beautiful gems. But at that moment,
Hmm.
he was teaching me, and I realized, and like I said once again, I love my dad, but there's some teaching that he was giving me out of fear that he didn't want me to be him. You know when your dad says, "I want you to be better than me," that's a powerful statement. But why if you just say, "Dad, I want to be you,"
Hmm.
but what is you?
I think every parent wants their children to be better than them
Yeah,
because they know that they've made certain mistakes and maybe they didn't accomplish certain things, and they wouldn't want their children to go in that same direction as them. So I think that's why a lot of times parents say they want, the child to be better. I think that specifically with your dad, what was the things that he knew that he tried to teach you, but I'm not gonna say it wasn't enough, but
oh
you
no, I
still
could
needed
never do
more
that.
from.
No, I
So,
couldn't.
yeah, what were those things? Because right now you have somebody that's watching
Yeah,
who have a father in their life, but still feel like they need a mentor, or they need a man in their life, and we're not saying anything bad about fathers who are in their
correct. We
children's
are
life.
I am definitely, because the things that as an adult, I've been picking so many things up. One of the things I always pick up from my dad is, when you wake up, you a man. And when he said that, I realized that thought process when I got married. And I love my wife, but I realized that there are certain characteristic I still needed as a man. But he told me that when I was 8. He
When
kept
you
on telling
when when
he
you
kept on
wake
telling
when
me
you
that.
wake up, you're a man.
Correct. And to break that down into more context, is basically saying you lead your house, you provide for your house, you go out there, and in his word, you grind, and you come back and you still come home, and that's what he meant.
Okay.
So, but in the same perspective, I'm learning that I felt like I needed more in that season.
Now wait, let's go back a little bit. How old are you when you start to feel like you need more? That's one question. But the other question is, what made you feel like you needed more? So what was the age that you started to feel like you needed more, and then what made you feel like you needed more?
Can I be honest, bro?
Hmm.
Can I be honest?
Yeah, this is purpose over everything.
I'm gonna look at you because you told me to look at you.
Yep, it's been a nice conversation.
There was one day that I was picking up my wife, and I was picking up my wife from therapy. We were in Queens,
Okay.
and we were. She was walking to the car. Now we just got married. Nothing was going on, but like it was just like she was walking to the car. Yeah, I was crying, bro.
Hmm.
I was crying, and the reason why I was crying because I realized I didn't feel like I was a man for her, and I
Because,
didn't feel like the vision for me in regards to my wife, I didn't have.
but like,
Hold on,
what triggered that?
what triggered
What
that?
was she walking a certain way? Did she almost trip or something? Like I
No,
don't.
it was like,
What?
bro, I actually don't know.
Just something
But it was
popped
just
in your
me.
head.
It was just me. Like I think I was just thinking. And I'm like, and she is my wife is so amazing.
Mhm.
But I was like, yo, I don't have a vision for my family. But my dad was always teaching me just to be a man. But he was never teaching me, and respectfully, if he's listening to this, I love you. But I'm just saying, as
And
fa-
and you can say and because sometimes when you say but, it kind of replaces everything you
I
said. And you
appreciate,
love him, and
I appreciate you, Grammarly. I appreciate you.
you love him, and
I love him, and
uh huh.
I understood that he was just doing what he learned. But at that moment, I realized that I needed something more.
So
And
you're an
that's
adult
so I'm an
at this
adult.
at this.
I'm an adult. But then I'm also realizing that, oh snap, I didn't have certain things that I didn't know. Because the question you asked, it's a very powerful question. When did you know?
Mm-hmm.
That was a moment I realized, oh snap,
Thank you for keeping it PG. Okay. Uh huh.
there's certain things that are not clicking. There's certain things that are not happening. So when I saw my beautiful wife, I'm like, damn, what can I give to my wife?
Mm.
Respectfully.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how to be a man, how to be a husband, and how to intersect those two thoughts in those two worlds.
Oh,
Now,
that's powerful. I wanna. Oh man, I got a lot of questions
no, bro,
from
I
what
got
you
two
just
more
said.
questions, so go ahead.
But we
But do you
got.
understand where I'm coming from, bro?
I do understand
You
where you're
sure?
coming from. At that point of time, for some reason, you were thinking like your wife was walking to the car,
Hey, yo, everything
and
was good. We went to Thai food after that.
right.
Like, we
So
were good.
I think that sometimes we get in our head and we get in our thoughts, and I think that maybe
Yo,
at
bro,
that moment,
I live in my head.
I'm just trying to like just think about and go back to that moment. It seems like you were really just thinking about, okay, where's life gonna go with us? What does this look like? What does that look like? How is this gonna be? And it's something in your head might probably just say, yo,
But hold on,
I don't even know.
You did something. Let's catch that real quick. How did everything like? What did it look like? Why did it look like?
Yeah,
But guess what? I didn't have anybody to vent. I
right.
didn't have anybody to say, oh, let's have this conversation. I didn't feel like I had that person
Yeah.
or knew, or I
Mhm.
may have that person,
Mhm.
but I didn't know how to communicate this.
Right.
So I was doing life by myself until I realized about God
Mhm.
and praying about community. And now I have a powerful community. I could go to anybody. But at the same time, at that moment in my life, I begin to realize as a man, you need community.
Yeah.
And that's the most powerful thing. And I always say this, you shouldn't do life by yourself.
Mhm. I
So,
agree with you.
and as a man, if you don't have a community, find one.
Yeah.
And if you a young man and you listening to this and you feel like I don't have a community, Kingsville Kings, holla at me. But
No, but I do understand what you experience. I think that when
did you
we
ever
become,
experience that? That's
well,
my second question.
I mean, when we become husbands, of course, there's like pressure. Is pressure, and you start to feel like you have this huge responsibility now, which we do, and because of the responsibility that we might have, we now start to say to ourselves, are we good? Do we have ourselves together? I think to answer your question, of course, you know what I mean?
Do you have a story, a time?
When I met my wife, I was at my lowest state when I met my wife, right? Like, I mean, I was working at my job,
Yeah.
I was doing certain things, but at the time I was living with my dad, blow up bed, you know what I mean, living in like what you call a kitchen room. So it was like the living room is there, and then the kitchen is right in the same area, right? So when I met my wife, I knew what I might have wanted in life, but I still wasn't clear about how to get there. So because of that, of course, I question myself. It's times where I'm sitting on a blow up bed. I'm dating my wife at the time, and I'm just like, yo, like, what are you doing? I mean, even if there was a time where my wife came over to my dad's house, and literally, I'm like, hey, you should spend a night at my dad's house. Now, mind you, uh, you know, my dad, small place, like I said, blow up bed, and something that my wife said to me is, how are we gonna fit here? And that how we are going to fit there, that made me evaluate my whole life, because now I'm like, what are you doing? You don't have anything solidified. You can't even provide, you can't even get this young lady a real bed to sleep on, and you are thinking about being married and courting and all these different things. And so of course, like, that trigger happens. But for me growing up,
Did you ever tell her that story?
yeah, she knows. She laughs
Oh,
all
okay,
the time. She makes fun of me because, God changed things around. But
Tremendously.
I think that for me, I used to idolize things that I saw on TV and different things like that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
those that used to make me feel like something is missing.
Okay.
So I had uncles. I had my grandfather. I had people around me. But when I was a little younger, I would say that, like, even the men around me, they were still trying to figure things out as well. So, like, because they were trying to figure life out, it was kind of hard for them to, like, mentor me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So all around, it's just like not having that mentor. I even went through a stage in my life where I felt like I'm always having to figure things out on my own. I'm always trying to do this. I'm always trying to do, right? Like, going through those different stages. But ultimately, something that I realized recently, because my birthday just passed and I kind of was just reflecting on life. Something that I realized that God did for me that I wasn't really paying attention to was He planted and put people in my life in certain seasons, men. And I was
Picking it
searching,
up.
for men to be around, and I'm like, God, I want somebody to hold my hand and show me the ropes. But He intentionally planted people in
you
my
needed.
life that at the time, it wasn't for a long period of time, it wasn't forever, but whenever I did need some type of man in my life, He put them there for that reason. And then if they go away, it's fine, but the purpose was already fulfilled. And after all of these years, I started realizing that I was a little ungrateful because I didn't pay attention to the people that He sent around me at those times. I was looking for a certain way for a man to lead me, and He was sending men to lead me in all different type of ways. You know what I mean? So I just say all of that to say that we, as men, we do experience these thoughts. Just to answer your question, like, those thoughts, I believe, is normal to have. So now what I'm going to ask you is, once you had that thought, what did you do about it?
I prayed.
Okay.
I prayed. I communicated to my wife what the situation was. We prayed together. Once again, we prayed together and we talked it out. I went my own independent corner, and I prayed, but I also wrote down my visions.
Okay.
I wrote down my goals. I wrote down what I want for my family, and I prayed about those things. All those things were important to me. And then as time progressed, I also communicated to my wife.
Now let me ask you this. Did you ever communicate to your dad?
About these things?
Yeah.
Damn, that's a great question. Nah.
Why?
I'm pausing because I want to pick the right words, because the person that do not know my dad, I don't want them to think my dad doesn't come with wisdom. I do believe I didn't go to my dad because I made an assumption that he wasn't the person I should go to because I don't know where he is in this lifetime.
Okay.
So I did, and yes, he had my mom and dad together. They got 32 years, and that's amazing. But right now, and
uh-huh.
I myself, because we never, and that's one thing we never talked about when I was growing up, marriage.
Okay.
So I didn't know what he knew. All he was teaching me was to be a man.
What advice do you give to that man who doesn't feel comfortable talking to a man that they felt like they should have confined in, but they having a hard time with it? What advice would you give to that man?
Teach that person how to talk to you. So what I've been doing with my dad is calling him every Thursday, and I just teach him how to have a conversation with me.
So you're opening him up.
So opening him up because he may not have that language. So I'm saying, hey, Dad, this is how I like you to talk to me when I have these conversations. I know that this might be a new thing for you, but as I navigate, I want to do life with you. And while we're doing life, here's what I'm thinking. Here's what I'm saying. Here's what I'm feeling. So these are going to be times where I'm going to need your input. I would like your input. And if you don't have anything, it's okay. Maybe, like you said, in this season, I'm just here to have a conversation with you. And I'm also here to say, I'm okay. I'm all right. Your son is okay.
Yeah.
He's going to be okay. But I just want to let you know what's happening. Because I remember, I think it was in January, he called me, son, you just dashed me away. And
What does that mean? I'm from America.
just basically mean he wanted my attention.
Okay.
Because I was just going.
Say it one more time. Son, say that. No. Say it again because I wanna get it.
Son,
Uh-huh.
you just dashed me away.
Dash me away. Okay. So dash me away is like, all right. So like you just like don't pay attention to me.
You're not paying
anymore.
attention to me.
Okay.
You're not. So
Acknowledge.
let's break it down. You're not acknowledging me.
Okay.
You're not showing me no attention. You are not communicating to me. And he said, son, even if you call me 1 minute, 2 minutes, at least me know that you were around.
Wait, hold up. wait.
I told
Hold
you,
up.
20,000, baby.
Hold up. So
You breaking it down?
how many men?
Ooh, I like this question.
How many men feel like they want to express themselves, they want to let it out, they're feeling dashed, they're not saying anything about it,
like
and they're just like isolating themselves and staying to themselves because it seems like you opened up your dad enough to be able to even say, I really need you, right? But sometimes it seems like you broke that down a dash. You broke down what that means, but like there's a lot of men who have all of these emotions inside of them.
Correct.
And they are not letting that thing out. So
I think they don't let it out, and let's unpack that. They don't let it out because the time that when they were 9 and 10 and 11 and they wanted to let it out, somebody rejected them.
Ooh.
So while they rejected them, they started to build this unconscious thing, and I myself might think I might be going through that too right now, where I may not come to you because I believe that you might reject me, and I don't have time to process that because I'm just doing life.
Ooh.
So while this is happening, I want to tell you, yo, bro, why you didn't call me? And that's not my dad. I might be a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yo, bro, why, like, you doing all these game nights? Like, I'm here,
Mm-hmm.
and I might feel a certain type of way, but what is that gonna do? But then, like you said, that might be me, because that might be a feeling of two things that are colliding together: validation and rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And when those two collide, you can't see, like you said, when you have a true brother, when you have a real brother, and you are acknowledging, like, yo, look how he showed up for you. Look who's there for you. And while you're doing that and having conversation, look who's in your corner.
Mm-hmm.
Look who's around the table.
Yeah. Do you think that like that 9-year-old that gets rejected, do you think they realize that they're getting rejected,
Nope.
or do you think that the person that's rejecting them realizes that they're rejecting them? Why do people reject people at that young age?
I don't even think they know that they're rejected. I don't even think they know the form of rejection. When you start saying, I'm not going to go back to that person, that's a form of rejection.
Mm.
When you realize, why you don't talk to that person no more? No, nothing. Or I'm very careful when I start saying, oh, that's that person.
Oh,
I don't like doing that because I begin to normalize that behavior. I haven't communicated to you my feelings and how I feel. And at this moment, I have now said to myself, your behavior is okay. But that's a 9-year old, a 10-year old, 11-year old. They don't got time to think about that.
mm.
The world is not teaching them how to have conversation. The world is not teaching them and saying, hey, mom, like, I feel rejected right now. What you talking about?
You don't know what that
You
means.
don't, you don't know what that mean.
Yeah,
Yo, go to your bed.
yeah.
Boom. Whoop, 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 whoop. Mom said that. Yo, I didn't really like how you was talking to me last night after we finished our college paper. What you talking about? You mad sensitive.
That's where I was gonna go next.
So you got your mom saying that, and then you have the young lady that's talking to you saying that. That person still remembers a 9-year old, and that person now feels rejected.
Mm.
But he still is gonna go on with life, but not communicating.
And what happens to that person when they get rejected like that and now they go through life? What is happening?
They find it hard to have friends.
Mm.
They find it hard to socialize. But they could be a social butterfly or the life of the party. But they could be the life of the party, but when the party is over, they don't connect with you. So you don't really know them. So
Mm.
that's that one person. Or the second person, they stay to themselves and play. I don't want to say play victim respectfully. I do want to say they don't know how to have that conversation with themselves to be able to have conversation with other people.
Mm.
So they just become lonely and silent. And I really hope anyone, and I said this before, and I think because I felt like that before, I hope no one feels lonely in life. Even if you have to pray about it, how to find community, even if you have to go to a church, but do something.
Yeah. Men. Is there this stigma that men have to be tough? They have to be
Why?
fearless. They have
Why?
to have like this demeanor where nobody can get to them because they have to be strong. Is this stigma that's happening for men? Is it something that needs to change? And is it something that needs to change? Because you said why. So is
I,
this something
I,
that
I
needs to
said
change?
I said why, then I said then in my head I say how. And the how is connected to society. And when society doesn't normalize the behavior of a feeling of a man, it becomes trickle. And now I don't know if I should be aggressive or should I be sensitive. Because I don't want to be perceived as the angry black man.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to be perceived as someone that has emotional intelligence. But I can't be able to have emotional intelligence if society is telling me to be that box. So if I step outside the box and I said, no, let's have communication. Let's talk about that. Let's have dialogues. Let's create information. Let's create language. Let's create a system. Let's create support. Let's create all those things. So you ask the how, but the how gets stifled a little bit when it's not a part of society. One society can normalize a behavior of a man just saying, "This is how I feel." We Society is not allowing a man to feel anymore.
So what can we do about it? Me and you
Oh,
and everybody who's watching who wants to change. That
I think
man
what we
who's
can do is that's why I started Kingsville King because I wanted to give spaces, an environment, an exposure, an experience where they can be able to see a dialogue like this.
hmm
You better believe that I'm showing my young man this dialogue between two intellectual brothers. You better believe that we're gonna dissect this conversation. You better believe when they look at the conversation when I had about my wife, we're gonna talk about that. Why? Because I want them to be able to be outstanding citizen for that wife. I want them to be outstanding citizen for their son, that daughter that comes home and say, "Hey, Dad, I feel this way." Let's sit down. Why do you feel this way? What's coming up for you? Honey, where'd you learn that? I learned that at Kingsville Kings. Babe, where'd you learn that from? I learned that at Too Gifted. Whoa, where you learn that from?
Right.
And
So
that's how I think that's hold on. And I think that I can't I one thing I don't want to do and I stopped doing is controlling what's outside. I can only control my home. And that's why I focus on the 3 E's is exposure, experience, and environment. And that's how I feel.
So we're gonna get into the 3 E's because that sounds cool. I like how that sounds. But I wanna real quick just talk about that because I'm really stuck on this because there's really a lot of men who are not vulnerable and who don't want to be sensitive. So what? First of all, is there a time where a man has to be tough?
You do.
When?
It all depends on the situation.
All right, so give me a situation where you had to be tough in your life.
I think making a decision to marry my wife.
Okay, that we're gonna unpack that because I thought you was, I thought you was gonna talk about when you had a fight or something. So
Yeah, I never had a fight, bro.
oh, all right.
So,
Anybody that's watching, you can't. Nah, just
yo,
one.
I'm not soft, but yo, I'll pick up my rock. So don't try to test me.
So okay, why was that a tough decision?
Because I was fighting with my demons inside of my head.
What were they saying?
Is this real? And would I get hurt again? And will this be rejection? And that's what was the hardest thing. But one thing my wife always said, that's why I love her so much.
Shout out to your wife.
Fellas, I know we're supposed to look at you, but I'm going to look at the camera. Fellas, get yourself an amazing wife. All right, back to you.
Okay.
So, she said, I'm not your enemy.
Okay. I like
love
that. Yeah, that's good. That's what made you marry her? Like, did she say that before you got married?
No. It wasn't that, but it was like that light bulb moment where it's like,
That was like the confirmation to say, I could do this?
I prayed.
Right.
I was doing what I needed to do.
So it was a tough decision because did society have any type of influence on that feeling like it was making it a tough decision? Did they have
Do you
any
feel
influence
like
on
me
it?
telling myself I had to graduate before I got married? Will you consider that society?
I don't know. Like it depends on what you were, watching, what were you around because some people might feel like if you graduate, that validates you and it solidifies you as a man and then you're able to provide for your family. So if that is the mentality that you might have had, then it could be just you just being secure and being stable.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But if the world is saying it's you watching a whole bunch of commercials that say you have to graduate, and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, then maybe you might be influenced by it. So I don't know. It depends on what was happening.
I was
with
asking
you.
that question because then what standard of a man?
Yeah, I think
I'm asking you that.
Yeah,
that's my last question.
Yes. The standard of a man for me, I think that every man should have morals and that they stand on, integrity, principles. Different things that they stand on that that represents who they are. And I also believe that a man should have an idea of the things that they want to do in life, and they should be working towards that and not kind of getting caught up. I also think a standard for a man is to be emotionally intelligent because being aware of your emotions and how you feel, that's very important. So there's a lot of things that I believe a man should have. That's why mentorship is important so that you can, environment, like you said, all of that stuff is important because you need that around you to even help you with that standard. my standard is God. My standard is Jesus Christ. That is my foundation. So
Correct.
as long as I have Christ, as long as I have God, I have a blueprint. I have something that I can follow
Correct.
to help me as a man, right?
Correct.
So that's my standard because if everything falls into place once you have that kind of foundation, you
Yeah.
know. So I believe that if a man really knows who God is and knows who God is in their lives, I
Oh,
believe that it would make things a
Jesus.
little bit more easier
I
in
wouldn't even say
regards to.
little. I would say big.
I would say,
Why you say little?
I would say little because life still happens. You go through things. I'm not saying that
Okay, I pick it up.
you God is the foundation and life is perfect. That doesn't happen. That's not how it works. So
Correct.
it's just a good start. You know
Okay.
what I mean? It's a good start to knowing who you are and
It's
to
a good foundation.
understanding, and then you grow from there.
I think I wish I knew that early in life. I think I wish I knew the presence of God early in life and knew the relationship I could have had, would have had if I was younger. Now, right now, oof, the relationship with God is the most powerful thing that I have and that foundation piece. And I always say, if you are walking with God, He right beside you. Oh, you dangerous.
Yeah.
Oh, you a dangerous man because you got boldness, you got rich, you got land, you got everything you have that you
Authority,
need,
dominion,
authority,
ruler.
and and then you truly believe that. So when you walk into a room, I say, "Oh, that man got God."
You feel a light.
You
You
feel
feel a
it.
presence. Yeah, I do believe
Now,
that.
it's a very hard thing to understand, but when you do,
It's powerful. So the three E's.
okay,
So let's go into that real
all
quick.
right.
And throughout this conversation, I really want you to like just put out your accent a little bit more because it keeps me engaged. So the three E's, right? So real quick, we're talking about King Bill's Kings. We're talking about
Yeah.
the standard of a man. We're talking about how important it is to be a man. All of these different things. But now I want to talk about the three E's
All right, let's talk about it.
because I think the three E's is really I think is gonna like sum up a lot
Yeah.
of things that we were saying. So let's talk about the three E's real quick. And I want to know, like, where did you get this from? Is this you? Did you make this up? Did you get it from somewhere? Like, let's talk about this three E's.
Yo, I low key hope I'm not ashy. I was trying to put this up to give it more of a dramatic effect, but that's not working right now. So, the three E's. I was doing my research one day, and one of the things I'm doing, and God has allowed me to for this year, is to really take my time to craft out Kingsville King. One of the things that He's heavy on me right now is focusing on these three E's: environment. One of the things that I love to do in every classroom that I go into is say, I appreciate you, young man. That's the environment. That environment that young man just saw was love. He saw a safe environment where a black man told him, I appreciate you.
No, that's powerful.
Then we transition to exposure. I'm only limited to what I know. So if I'm exposed to greatness, the only thing I'm going to do is trip on success.
That's good. That's good. I like that. Yeah.
So if I'm going to do that, I have to be exposed. So if I only know the person from the deli, I only know the teacher that I go to every day, that's what I'm exposed to. But what if I'm exposed to someone that is doing so much in an impact in the community? What if I'm exposed to someone that is making or has to build in their mind $1 million fundraiser or raise capital for $3 million or be a part of a boardroom? Now, I'm only talking about business. Let's go back to another site. Being exposed to someone that just saying, I love you. So we went from experience, we went from exposure. So the resource, they went to the environment. The environment is the most powerful thing a young man can have, and I want to take my time on this. And the reason why I want to take my time is because I realized the environment that I was in made me who I was. So all of the things that I'm saying is the exposure made me me. The experience made me me. The environment made me me. So when someone says, yo, I come from Brooklyn, that's my environment.
Yeah.
So, but that's the most powerful thing I have because I could come from Chicago, I could come from Fort Lauderdale, and that's your environment. But sometimes when you have environments, and I'm gonna use this analogy of the flower, sometimes there's no seeds that grown in that flower. So that's why you got to find a different environment where you can find a different water. And what I'm doing now is I'm building the king in you. So when you get to greatness,
Yeah.
you could be able to see it. Oh, snap.
That's good.
That person just walked in, oh, snap.
Yeah.
He got something on him. He knows that he has experience. He knows that he can go to somebody that has exposure. And he knows he's in the right environment, that he feels safe. And I think, and I want to go back to the environment, I think young men just want to feel safe.
Do we need all three in order for us to succeed in life?
Yes. And I don't have the research yet. But once I do, I'm going to be preaching about the 3 E's.
So
Trust me and believe me. The reason why is because I truly think once you have all 3 E's, there's something that can be different in you.
so tell me about that.
Do you believe that?
Do I believe that you need all 3 E's to be successful?
So let me rewind.
And this is the extra question because you said you wasn't.
I know this is a bonus.
It's a bonus.
It's a bonus. It's a
Okay.
bonus.
Okay.
I'm pausing because I want to think about how I'm going to answer this. Because at the end of the day, you're going to need the 3 E's in different seasons.
Okay.
You may not need all of it, but you need it. But you will always need the right environment. Now, you do need to know what a wrong environment looks like.
Yeah.
And the reason why, so when you get to the right environment, you can say, oh, snap, I don't want to go back there. Because this one over here looks good. Oh, snap, I don't really want to be exposed to that group. Yeah, this is good, healthy friendship. So I think in different seasons, you're going to need both, but it shows up in different ways.
Okay. Yeah. To answer your question, do we need all 3? Do we need experience, exposure, and environment in order for us to be successful? It's subjective. I think that.
Did I use the word successful?
No, yeah, actually, you said, yeah, we all need that in order for us to be successful. So, like, and if you didn't, I'm sorry.
No, I rewind your tape.
Yeah. But I'm gonna ask you again. Do you need all 3 to be successful?
I don't know
Shoot.
I said shoot.
Okay.
How do you know, or how do we define success in this conversation?
That's a great question.
Yeah, because then I'll be able to articulate to answer that question.
Okay. So before we answer what is success, I think that environment is the thing that births experience and exposure. I think that from the environment that you're in, there's experiences that might happen. There's things that you are exposed to, and it can birth who you are.
Correct.
Who you become.
Correct.
So I believe that environment is super, super important.
Very important.
And we do need exposure. We do need experience. So I really just feel like it's definitely something that I would love to have a roundtable discussion about, because I would want other men and just people, period. I would want to know what their insights are on these 3 E's and, who needed it. So if I think about my life, for example.
So you bring me back part 2?
I might bring you back part 2.
So get the views up. Make sure you subscribe right now. All right. Thank you.
So I think that I really feel like, for me personally, my environment is what shaped me. But my environment shaped me to help me become who I am now. I didn't become my environment. I actually became the opposite of what I was in because of my environment. Because of my environment, I decided to do different. I didn't conform to what I was in. You know what I mean? So
But you answer
cer-
my. But you
yeah,
answered.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Certain people can have different perspectives on that. I don't disagree with you.
Correct.
I think that it's just really something that people should really identify. And not only men, I think that
It could be
those
anyone.
three
Yeah.
E's is for every person that experiences life. We all go through those things. So I think that is super, super
And
important.
and I think what I would like to do, and I would like to challenge your audience, is ask yourself those three E's
Mm,
on a quarterly basis. Like, what's in my environment?
yeah,
Who am I exposed to? What has been my experience?
I love it.
Because you begin to challenge your thought, and I feel like man and woman, um, we had to challenge our thinking. Like when we were in kindergarten, we used to think about going to space. We used to think about going to space with a unicorn.
Hmm.
When did we stop doing that?
Yeah.
Because life was lifing.
Yeah, and then it begins to those dreams they start to go to the back burner. So yeah, so I like that. Viewers, I really love what Anthony just said. Let's really evaluate our lives, quarterly, and ask ourselves those three questions. I'm actually going to, when we get off this podcast, I'm going to ask myself that question as well, just to see what my life is and where my life is at right now in this point of my journey. So I definitely think that that's a
I
great thing. Don't ask me any more questions.
One more
'Cause it's
question. One more question, because I want to see how the reason why I'm gonna ask you this question so they can see how it looks like. Because we've been talking about the language and things of that nature, so I want to show them a teachable moment.
Mhm.
How do you experience greatness?
How do I experience greatness? I experience greatness by living in my purpose. That's it. I think that when I'm doing the thing that God has created me to do, it's great.
Uh,
When I'm able to do what I love all day long, without any stress or worry or different things like that, I believe that it's a great thing, and I believe it's greatness. So that will be my answer to it. And in regards to defining success, I really think that everyone has different definitions of what success is
and
to
it
them,
changes.
right? And success is not always the same. So for me, success is the fulfillment of not only me living in purpose, but seeing my wife live in purpose, to see my children live in
Yeah,
purpose, right?
I'm
Success for
picking it
me
up.
is when
Yes,
I'm
let's
when I'm
go.
able to
Let's go.
pour wealth and wisdom into my children, right? Like those two W's is important. Like I want them to know what wealth is, and I want them to understand what wisdom is, so that they can be able to use that wisdom to get anything that they want in life, right?
Ooh,
So when I'm in a place in my life where I am pouring wealth and wisdom and my family is producing results from it, I believe that is success for me, so that just requires me to really spend time with my family, pour in, learn more,
uh,
do all of these different things, because I believe wealth and wisdom together, and not only wisdom but God wisdom,
ooh,
right? Like if we have
I'm picking it
if we have
up.
God's wisdom,
Ooh,
he will give us the power to gain other things.
yes.
So
Amen.
so those are that's success for me. When my family is walking in God and walking in our foundation, and from that they're producing all of these different fruits, I'm like, yeah, you guys figured it out. So that's me. What is your definition of success?
I think my definition of success is when I went to the pearly gate and God says, "Well done."
Yeah.
I think that will be success for me. I gave everything that God has given me, and I didn't leave nothing behind. So I think when someone asked me the other day, "Why you go so hard?" it's because God has given me a gift. God has given me a gift. He took time to think about Anthony Thompson and he gave me a certain gift. And you telling me I'm gonna spoil that?
Mm.
You gotta be out your
PG-13.
goddamn mind. No, but honestly, and he gave it to me. No one could do what I could do.
There you go.
I remember one time you said something to me that was so I didn't even think about it. He's like, "What you're doing is not normal,"
Mm.
and I say that back to you. What we're doing
Mm-hmm.
is not normal, and I think I want to take this time out to just give you your flowers, bro. I want to take this time out to celebrate you. You've been in my life for only, I would say, a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen so many grow in you. The way you take care of your family, the way you are a friend to me, my wife, the way you pour into the kids of New York City, New Jersey, internationally, the way that you are consistent. I appreciate you. I wish I had like a dozen flowers just to give to you right now.
I
But
appreciate that, bro.
I want you to take that in.
Yeah.
I don't want you to get okay because everybody says that. Nah, take that in, bro.
Yeah.
Let's normalize giving each other flowers as young kings.
Love that.
Because that's how we have those three E's again.
Mm.
Experience, environment, and exposure.
I love that. Listen, I mean,
Let's
right.
go. Let me go.
Yeah,
The
listen.
subscribe up, please. Like right now because I'm trying to come back. I want to do a part 2. Make sure you have. Send it to your mama. Send it to Pookie. Send it to Send
Who
it to
is
some
Pookie,
teacher,
bro?
Yo, I don't know who's Pookie in the urban community, but yo, send this to Send this to a principal that don't know Kingsville Kings are too gifted.
Let's
Yo,
go.
let go. Let the comments. Let's have a Yo, let's have a conversation in the comments.
I like that.
All right.
I like that.
Yo, remember Kingsville King. Let's build.
Listen, I mean, Anthony, you can't close it out any better than that. So listen, guys, thank you for watching. I hope that we can have a part 2 because
Hope. Let me.
We're
He was
just-
doing a lot of Grammarly over here. No hope. We will have a part 2.
listen, we are just scratching the surface. I know that this podcast, that this episode is going to help thousands of people. I
Facts.
truly believe it in my heart. I believe that there is a man right now and even a woman that is listening to this podcast and needed to hear this exactly at this time. So I just want to thank you, bro, for being a part of this podcast, for saying yes when you could have said no. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I really appreciate you allowing the world to just hear your vulnerability and hear the things that you're doing. Kings build kings. It is a movement. It is.
I heard that second time.
It is something that I truly believe every man needs. So I pray that every man that has access to you will be built up the way that you are building everybody up.
Ooh, let's go.
Listen, again, thank you for watching. Thank you for all that you do. And I really just want to say that I hope that at the end of this podcast, you can really go back and check those 3 E's and see where you're at life. And I guarantee you that it will help you to go to the next level in your life. So
I'm picking that up.
let's close out with some words of wisdom. Now, this is when you can stop looking at me.
Yo,
I want you to talk to the people, Anthony. Give them some words of wisdom before we close out.
First of all, thank you again for being on this podcast. This was amazing. Thank you to my brothers. Y'all know who you are. I missed this. I truly missed this. But to have a conversation with you guys, keep going. Anything that you're doing in life, just keep going. Even if you feel like you're about to give up, just keep going. Even if your life you think is in a turbulence, keep going and always remember God is amazing. God is beautiful. Even if you don't even know God, from my voice to your hurt, to my voice to your pain, to my voice to your love, to my voice to your peace, to my voice to your home. Bill, keep going. I love you. Even if I don't know you, I love you because tomorrow is a new day.
Listen, let me close out in prayer, man. Keep your hand here. Father God, I just want to say that we love you so much and we thank you for all that you are doing. Thank you for this mighty man of God. Thank you for this king that you have blessed us with. I pray, Lord, that you continue, Lord, to protect his heart, his mind, his soul. I pray, Lord, that his vision comes to pass, that all of the impact that he wants to do, all of the gifts that you have given him, he's able to pour it out to thousands and thousands of people, Lord. I pray that God continues, that you continue to strengthen him from the crown of his head to the sole of his feet. And I pray that no weapon that is formed against him shall prosper. I pray, Father God, Lord, that he continues to be consistent, that he executes the vision that he has, that he is the role model to his family and even his children to come, Father God. We love you and we thank you, God. Allow Kingsville Kings to be the biggest movement in the world. We thank you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I learned that I ain't perfect, but God gave me a purpose. I'm worth it 'cause I know he chose me. I'm alright now.